Look, let me maybe just take a few minutes and then spend the rest of my time maybe just answering any questions you may have so that I don't miss something that you may want to talk about. As you all know, I've followed Mayor Annise Parker, and it's been an incredible, now pretty much close to 2 years in the city of Houston. And this has been an incredible year for us. We're the only city on the face of the earth that have started off with a Super Bowl, of course, in February, and then the NCAA Final Four. We hosted Harvey. You got to count it. But I say that even in a positive sense. We hosted Harvey. More rain that has fallen on any American city in our history. But at the same time, it brought the best of Houstonians. So I still counted even on the positive side on that end. Followed immediately by the Astros and winning their championship. And then we've finally reformed our pension system that has challenged the city for the last 17 years. Anytime you have an unfunded liability of $8.2 billion, costing the city $1 million a day, and it has not been resolved over 17 years, and we finally get it resolved, I count that as a plus. So we're making some significant steps in the right direction. And of course, if the finances are questionable, it's difficult to do all other things. We are, Houston now, the most diverse city in the country. For people outside of Houston, they may not think that, but 1 of 4 Houstonians is foreign born, and there are about 142 languages spoken in the city of Houston. And then over the next 3 years, over the next 12, 14, 15 years, we're expecting about 3 million more people to come into our region. Which means that now where we're the 4th largest city in the United States, in time we'll be the 3rd. We will bypass Chicago. What that means is more people come in, and even with our flooding problems, which we certainly have to address, we still are a growing, developing, maturing city, which means we have to find ways to move people efficiently from point A to point B. So transportation, transit, mobility become critical issues, and we just can't build roadway capacity. That's how we functioned in the past. In the 90s, for example, leadership made a decision, build more roads, and we have done just that. And I point to Interstate 10 West as an example, 26 lanes, including the feeder roads. The largest, one of the largest in the world. We spent about $2.2 billion in 2007 in the completion of that project, and now it's probably the 7th or 8th most congested freeway in the state of Texas. We've built 610, we've built the Beltway, we've built the Grand Parkway, and as we have built them, they have come. And the congestion still remains the same. But it's created problems for us. It's created congestion because as we have built them, we've also developed around in those areas. And as we have developed, then the drainage and the flooding problems have also come. So we have to change the paradigm, and we need more multimodal forms of transit in our state. We have to design, redesign, and build a city that's more pedestrian, walkable friendly. A lot of people want to be able to walk to their jobs or walk to retail. And so we have to redesign our city. And then we have to offer people other options. Light rail, commuter rail. We're building out more bicycle lanes. We're looking at, over the next couple of weeks, going to what we call these companies that want to provide bikes in our city, like they're doing in Dallas and Seattle. and you simply pay a small amount and you ride it anywhere, and where you take it, you drop it. I mean, you leave it. The only problem is that when they've done it in China, there have been bikes everywhere. And even in Dallas and Seattle, bikes everywhere. So we want to look at it from more of a pilot program to kind of see how it works, because we don't want to add clutter and everything, but we do want to provide people, Houstonians, with those type of options. That's critically important. And then at the same time, we have a lot of things in this city to be proud of. We are the energy capital of the world. We will continue to be the energy capital of the world. We have the largest medical center in the world, the largest children's hospital center in the world. The Port of Houston is #1 in terms of foreign tonnage. So we have a lot of things to be proud of. But we haven't done the best job when it comes to startups, technology and innovation. Now, different categories have done well. The medical center, they have startups, technology, innovation. They've done well. And even in the energy sector. But in terms of a more integrated, robust sort of ecosystem, we haven't played very well in that space. And a city like Chicago, 5 years ago, 2012, they created what they call 1871, dealing with startups and venture capitalists. And they've gone from $350 million to about $1.7 billion, created about 40,000 high-tech jobs. They've done very, very well. But Houston needs to play in that space. And we have all of the ingredients. We have the talent. We have the technology, the diversity. We have all of those elements. But we haven't played well in an integrated fashion. And so over the last several months, we've started to move in that direction. And quite frankly, I think that's where we're going, and that speaks to the future of where we are heading. Because if we don't, a lot of people who are millennials, for example, the young talent, they will go to where those opportunities are. And they will either go to Boston or they'll go to Silicon Valley. And then companies will go to where that talent is, and even energy companies that exist today will go there. And then lastly, for example, Israel. We went there in June. Israel is about the size of New Jersey, but there are more startups there per capita than any place on the globe. They've done extremely well. They've got an innovation district. We don't have an innovation district in the city of Houston, but we should, and we're moving in that direction. But what Israel does not have, they do not have the energy companies that exist within the city of Houston. And so what they were asking us to connect our energy companies with their people in startups so that they can create that symmetry there. But before companies start looking in other locations, we need to make sure that we provide that ecosystem right here. So there are a lot of challenges that exist in our city, but challenges lead to opportunities, and I would suggest that our best days are ahead of us. But we do have to tackle issues like flooding, because storms came in 15, flooded, 16, flooded, 17 with Harvey, flooded. And the odds are with climate warming that storms will continue to come in 18, 19, and 20. So right now we're focusing on building a stronger city, more resilient, which means we have to expand some of the bayous to add capacity, okay? We have to be very careful where we develop. Can't just develop in areas that we know that are prone to flood, which means that at times we'll have to say no, even when people want to say yes. But it doesn't make any sense to have people develop and homes develop in areas that we know in time will flood. So we have to be smarter. We still want the development. We still want people to come. But we have to be much more resilient. In areas that when we put in these mitigation strategies, homes that we know will still continue to flood, then we have to have more buyout programs for them. We have to provide resources to elevate people's homes. We need another third reservoir down in West Houston. And then if the storm had hit Galveston Bay and created a storm surge, the way the system works, the way we work in our region, the city controls the streets. The streets we use as a form of drainage. That's a part of our method. Then the water goes from the streets to the bayous. The bayous is controlled by the county, the Harris County Flood Control District. The water goes from the bayous into the Galveston Bay. If there's a storm surge in Galveston Bay, that means it pushes the water back up to the bayous, it pushes water back into the streets, then it pushes water back into homes and businesses. So we need what we call the coastal spine that will help to prevent that storm surge from occurring. That is a huge cost item of about $12 billion. Most of what I'm talking about on the mitigation strategies should be paid for by the federal government. But right now, right now, their response has been woefully inadequate, okay? Woefully inadequate. And right now, they're only providing funding that will pretty much, in part, put us back the way we were prior to Harvey. And one of the reasons why we're having problems is because the problems in the natural disasters in California, Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, all happen at about the same time. And to provide the necessary resources for all of us is a pretty high bill. Well, the timing is bad, and then today they're discussing the tax reform, okay? Well, they want to provide tax reform without continuing to increase the debt. We are caught up in that. They don't want to add to the debt. So they are shortchanging all of us. That is unfortunate. And for the city of Houston, the city of Houston has been penalized because the debris, in large part, is not on the streets. The city, in their minds, has moved on. This is a city that has won the World Series. They saw 1 million people on the streets in the parade. People are coming to our city, the lights are on. And so in their minds, Houston has recovered. The reality is you have to see the damage inside people's homes. And that's where the damage is. So we have to insist that the federal government treat us like they treated people in Louisiana, treated people like in New York and New Jersey, and not significantly undermine and shortchange the city of Houston. So I said in a nutshell, let me stop right there.